I took this man, his children, and his ex-wife. We're always blending. The life of a bonus mom, bonus dad, bonus child can be as beautiful as you make it out to be.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pink Table Talk. I'm your host, Loria Reed, and we are back with another amazing episode of female topics. But of course, our men, you guys can tune in and listen to what we've got going on. Today, we've got another great topic. I'm sure you've seen our flyers and our graphics about it. We're talking about family, blended family. So make sure if you're a stepmom, if you got baby mama drama, as we call it, I want all of you to text your friends, let them know that we're on, share this, like this, let them know that we've got a great guest on and we will be discussing all of it. No holds bars. We're going all the way in to talk about these relationships and how to assist you in what you're doing and to get some tips, see what works, what doesn't work. And I'm sure you're going to love our guest. So go ahead on, you know the routine. Go ahead on and begin sharing and liking this. All right, so let me introduce our guest. I'm so excited to have her. She's a wife, a mom, a bonus mom. She's the founder of the Bonus Club, which is, I don't like to use the word stepmom, but she is that. But she calls herself a bonus mom, which we call many of our women who have accepted their children of their spouses as their own. And she's a singer, lover of Christ. We love her so much. Would you all please welcome Miss Leslie Kirkland? Hello, Miss
Hi.
Leslie.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing good. I am so glad that you
Good.
could join us today.
I'm so glad to be a part of the show. This is exciting.
Yeah, but it's amazing because I saw your Instagram and I didn't know that you had I don't want to just call it a ministry. It is a ministry, but a
Yeah.
community of women called the Bonus Club where you get to talk about all these things and go through the changes and how to navigate through because I'm sure you're still navigating
Correct.
but at the same time to kind of have a community of women to go through that. So ladies, once again, please go ahead on and share it. We all have a friend who calls us and says, his baby mama and da 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 da. I need you to go ahead on. Let them know that we're on with
Absolutely.
Miss Leslie today so that we can get some clarification, some tips of how to
Yeah.
navigate because you've done an excellent job of being an example in that area. And I'm sure it's
Thank
been,
you.
it's had its moments, but
Absolutely.
you've
Yeah.
done it. So my first question to you is many people know your husband and Mr. Greg, who we love so much. I'm sure you all know him if you see his face, but he's just this entity within himself. You guys meet. I want you to kind of talk about the dating process of how you all met. Did he tell you up front, I've got two children? Was it like, something a deal? Well, it wasn't a deal breaker for you because you married him, but how did you decide this is the guy that I really like, and how did you all get started with that?
Truthfully, I'm going to be very, very honest. When I first met Greg, I was not interested in him at all. And
Mm,
when I met his kids prior to us, of course, really forming even any type of friendship because he would bring the children to rehearsal. And so when I was at rehearsal at Elizabeth, he would bring the girls, and I'd be like, "Oh, okay." And kind of developed, the girls and I developed our own type of friendship. They kind of gravitated toward me as I did with them. But we wanted to create something outside of Greg and I because we wanted that relationship with them to be completely authentic. So once Greg and I got together, I'll be honest, I was like, do I really want to do this? This man has kids, he's divorced. That's not on my list. So,
right.
I had to think about all of those things and what really I think helped us out was we really became friends. And when we decided to make it romantic, it was very seamless. And I didn't have to put pressure, or he didn't have to put pressure on the girls to establish this relationship with this new girl, because they had already established that relationship with Leslie. Now they
Wow.
were getting to know Leslie as daddy's girlfriend, who then becomes the fiance, now wife.
Wow. Now that's a great story because I've never heard
Mhm.
it go that well.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's like, okay, now we get to meet. So let me ask you this, as a single woman and other single females who are listening, at what point, when is a good time from your vantage point of what you've talked to several women, I'm sure, when do you believe that children need to be introduced when you're dating someone? At what point
I
would you think?
I think first of all, I think you need to take your time, especially when kids are involved, because you don't want your relationships or your home or whatever to become a revolving door. That you don't want. But when you know that you have settled within yourself, and you and that person have really come to terms, and you guys are on the same page and going into the same direction of a serious monogamous relationship, even to the point
Hmm.
that you can see, okay, this may eventually go into marriage. To me, that's when you start talking about the kids. But to either the woman or to the man, you have to allow them to steer that boat, because they have to feel comfortable enough to, bring their kids around you. Don't push that topic. Let that gradually
Right.
happen. And it literally, to me, needs to be a situation that is very seamless. It shouldn't be
Hmm.
pressure to meet the children. You shouldn't feel like, oh my God, when is this going to happen? Because my thing is, if a man wants you to meet his kids, you're going to meet them. If a woman wants you to meet her children, you will meet them. But timing is everything, and allow them to know when it is the right time, because that's their kids. So,
Right.
gradual baby steps with everything.
Yeah, because I'm sure his children, and you're such a nice person. I know I've seen you in church, and you're normally, and it's funny, you probably don't remember me, but I'm normally leaving out from the 7:30 service at House of Hope when you're coming in, and you're always
Okay.
got your, pushing your stroller, and I'm like, hey, and you're
Yeah.
like, hi, how are you? And I'm always saying, she's just such a nice person. But you have the personality too, I believe, to make this successful. And let's talk about attitude. With us as women, and
Mhm.
how and we're coming from, and let me say this too to everyone, we're coming from the context of a woman who is taking on her husband's children, or in that aspect, just to clarify. But
Yeah.
attitude, how should our attitude, and what has been your experience with the attitude of you, not necessarily talking about the mother of your husband's children or the children, but what should your attitude be, and what was yours going into it?
Honestly, I tell people all the time, and I have to tell myself, no matter what the other person may do, remain true to who you are. And in that, I'm a very jovial person. I love to smile, I love to laugh. I find, beauty in everything. That's just who I am. So in no way was I going to let this situation be, the positive and negative that comes with it, because believe it or not, I have faced some things. I didn't let that deter me or make me into someone that I know I didn't want to become.
Right.
Because my thing is kindness. At some point, she was going to have to shift. At some point, you were going to have to, see, okay, this girl, no matter what may be thrown her way, she's going to be true to herself. I will say this though, because I am a very vocal person. I communicate. Greg and I have a great dynamic where we are open in our communication, and that is really important in any relationship. And sometimes our communication is very difficult. I'll be very honest with you, and that's where we take it from a standpoint. We're not talking as husband and wife. Let's talk as friends, because it gives
Mhm.
you kind of put your guard down a little bit when you're talking to your homeboy, your homegirl. I remember specifically when we were dating, I told him, because he was new to being divorced, and this was completely new for him, introducing a woman to his children who was not their mom. But there's a difference, and
Mhm.
this is for any woman or any man. There's a difference from being private to being a secret. What I kept telling him, what
Mm.
I'm not going to be is a secret. Now,
Right.
private, I don't mind, because private, you choose who you let into your business. But
That's
secret,
right.
you're going to know who I am. or where I
Mm-hmm.
stand in this relationship. So, and no way was I ever a secret, but I had to make that known ahead of time, and I had to trust the process with him. And it was not always easy because, when I felt like she should know this, or you need to do this, or you need to do that, he's like, no, there's a time and place for it all. I had to learn that, and I'm still learning that at times. So in any
Wow.
relationship, you have to take a step back, because as women, we're quick with it. We're quick to pop off, and that's the honest. We want to be heard. When we feel something needs
Right.
to change, we want it to change right then and there, and it's not
Right.
always going to happen that way. So
Mm-hmm.
even now, into this 7 years, I still have to say, step back for a second, Leslie. you know
That's right.
yeah.
That's right. And speaking about your husband, I know that that is an important part of this whole process of him being able to secure you and who you are to the children, as well as, they're kind of like that balancing board, I want to say. So,
Yeah.
what would you say your husband does that you love? And you kind of mentioned some of those things. What do you love about him with your relationship? Because I think it really takes two people to help you to
Hmm.
be this great bonus mom that you are. But
Yeah.
what is his role in that? And for men who may be watching this too, what is their role in the whole situation of the baby mama, children, and you?
Honestly, to say that Greg was newly divorced and he had never been in that type of situation, because you had to think about it. You had his ex-wife, his children, and now this new girl, this, who's kind of all coming at him at the same time and want his time, in regards to his responsibilities. One thing I will say that stood out with Greg was he kept me a priority no matter what.
Mm,
Never ever at any point neglecting his children. He still kept me a priority. He would always ask me how I felt about something. He would always include me, and that really made me, and it almost makes me tear up, because he did it from the beginning, which made me feel
wow.
so safe and so
Hmm.
comfortable, knowing that this man really cares about me, and he wants me to be okay with this situation when I want him to be okay with this situation. So
Right.
it was reciprocal. It was reciprocal. The feelings were reciprocal in how we wanted to be there as a support for each other in a difficult walk that both of us had never been on. It was
Mm.
new to both of us.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. And it sounds almost so good to be true, but I can tell that it really is true because you guys,
Yeah.
and I want to say too, it goes back to maturity. And if
Correct.
you're not ready to handle that, you should not take it on. So
And that's the truth, because I will be honest. Prior to Greg, I well prior to Greg, I wouldn't date anybody with kids. I just wasn't doing it. And then it's a funny thing. God will really prepare you for what's to come, because the two guys I dated prior to him actually had kids, and I'm gonna be very honest. I did not like one of them. I couldn't stand his
mm,
child, and I was very. It's very hard for me to hide my feelings, and I just didn't care for that little girl. Poor, and she's a sweet child,
mm.
but and that was the truth. So I am a nice person, but everyone who knows me knows you don't ever have to guess what Leslie's thinking and how she feels, because she's going to tell you. So my thing
Right.
is, even with that, I had to pump the brakes a little bit with Greg. I'm from New Orleans. We speak our mind. So I was going to say exactly how I felt. And honestly, there were times where I felt he was being put in a tough situation. And I was like, no, man up, do what you got to do. But I had to realize you got to step back. Just step back.
Right. So this is my question too, and you kind of hinted on it. Was there like a sign from God, like you need to be in this situation? Because I know it's one thing to want to be married. It's another
Mhm.
thing to take on, a life with a man with children to love, and you love him, but to take on his children the way that you've taken them on, was there like you prayed and fasted, like, Lord, is this what you want me to do? Or was it just all organic? Like, I feel like these are my children.
One thing I had to learn, you said you took this man and his children. I took this man, his children, and his ex-wife. I took them all. And I had to come to terms with that first, that no matter what, he would forever have a tie to his ex-wife because he shares these two children with him. So most importantly, you're right. Maturity has to always take precedence, because if you can't handle someone else being a part of this, who honestly will never go away, you can't handle this type of a situation, a blended family. You have to be secure in who you are, just as the other person has to be secure in who they are. And security isn't dependent on the other person, it starts with you.
Right.
So
Right.
with that, I had to come to terms with, okay, Leslie, are you sure you want to handle it? But truthfully, I come from a blended situation, and really, I never realized that I was truly in a blended situation, all honesty, until I married a man with children. Because we weren't raised in the house to say stepmom, stepdad, that's just daddy is
Uh-huh.
daddy, mom is
Mm-hmm.
mama. So for me, it never looked that way. So I leaned on my mom when it came to how I should walk in it. And she was very honest. She said, I want you to look at this with your eyes wide open. I came into a marriage, I brought your sister into this marriage with your father. So I can tell you as a mom what it looked like. She said, now you're going to take on it a different way with a man with two children, and be careful of that, because that's sensitive. He has children. So I did
Right.
pray. I did pray, and I asked God. I did. I said, look, Lord, honestly, is this really what you want me to have? But I'm gonna be totally transparent. I have never felt so secure and so safe and so free in a
Mm.
relationship in my life.
Wow.
And no,
Wow.
it is not all roses in the field and I'm just running through it. No, but I will be honest, he is my partner, and he truly is whom God sent to me. And we make this thing work. And with that, you have to be open with the kids. I think that's most important. We always included the children because we never
Mm-hmm.
wanted them to feel like they weren't a part of this dynamic. They were a part of
Right.
every phase of our relationship.
That's a great testimony. All of this is so good. It's so rich. You guys make sure that you're sharing and liking this because this is so, so good. Wow.
Thank
One
you.
of the questions I want to talk to you about, and I saw this on your Instagram page. It was a question that I think is
Okay.
very important, and it's
Okay.
about finances with the bonus children and
Yes.
child support. So the question
Yes.
that you posed on your page, and I want to kind of look, I'm going to ask you your own question on your page that you posed. But the
No
question
problem.
was, do you believe that when you marry a man, it's your responsibility as the bonus mom to assist with that? Do you believe that it's your responsibility? The two have become one. Do you believe it's your responsibility to assist with finances financially?
Yes, I do. Because they are my children. I may not have birthed them, but it's my responsibility as their bonus mom to take care of them as well. When they're in our home, they are my children. They are under my
Mhm.
roof, and I'm mama bear to them when they're here. And so with that comes, I have they're teenage girls, and at that time they were little. I call them my pre-ladies. They were little ladies. So it was important for me to leave a stamp on them in regards to, my viewpoints of, what being a young adult, what young lady looked like, and, getting their hair done and all of that stuff. So I always was very respectable, and I am still to this day very respectable on how I handled it. It was a thin line for me in the beginning, because let's go back to, you have to be in a place where you're secure within yourself. And I'll be very honest,
Mhm.
this is where it was a tug of war, for me, because of the fact that we were still dealing with issues, regarding his ex. And I didn't want her to feel like I was trying to step on her toes. I was trying to
Right.
replace, or I didn't want that. I wanted her to know that any and everything that I did for those children, I needed her to know that I was doing in addition to. And that's where the bonus club comes, because to be a bonus mom is means it's in addition to. I'm not
Right.
stepping on anyone. I'm in addition to your mom, to your father. I always went to my husband first and asked for permission to do something because I just never wanted to blur the lines, and I never wanted them to feel like I was overstepping my boundaries. And fast forward to now, 7 years later, I still do it, even though I really don't have to in some instances, because the fact of the matter is we're married, but I never ever want there to be any type of friction from that standpoint. But I think the girls are in a great place because they view, me as well as their mom the same but differently, because they know,
Hmm.
we hold different places, but they respect and love us both equally. And that's what I love. I
Right.
think they know that, they both have our best interest at hand. And they look at it from a standpoint of, I got an extra mom out of this deal. It don't get no better than
Wow.
that.
Wow. That's awesome. Because I know we see, Kevin Hart and his wife and Russell, and Sierra and all the, we see the pictures and we're like, oh, that's so sweet or whatnot. But we never think about the technical side of how all of that comes into play. And there are
Yeah.
other parents and different, you have to navigate through that thing. And I believe that
You
you
really
guys have
do.
done a great job.
And I will say this to the viewers and listeners, honestly, in regards to when it comes to financial and child support, that is a sensitive discussion. That is something that needs to be had with that couple. And
Hmm.
whatever comes out of it, whatever decision you make, I don't want anyone to think it's a wrong decision. No, whatever decision is made
Right.
for that couple is right for that situation, and nothing's wrong
Correct.
with that. And as long as you all keep the kids in mind and keep them first, that's all that
Right.
matters. Now, at times, do I feel like, oh God, especially in the beginning, I was like, Lord, I went from just taking care of myself to now I'm taking care of two kids. This is crazy.
Hmm.
And it wasn't always easy. And sometimes I'm like, now I'm taking care of four. So I'm like, oh my God. But I chose this. And that's the thing
Right.
that people need to understand. It is a choice. Nobody makes you marry or get into a relationship with someone that has children. That is a personal choice. So when you accept that choice, accept what comes with it.
That's right. I agree completely. And it kind of goes
Yeah.
back to, and just having this conversation with you, it's just so grown womanish, It's just, it's just, it's so refreshing to speak to a younger woman who's mature, and
Yeah.
it's like, what you got into and you made the best of that situation. You and your husband have done a
Mhm.
great job. You all have two children and you kind of combine together where it's almost as if you don't have it's no separation, it's four
It's
kids,
no separate.
and
Right.
that's just
Mhm.
awesome. So my next
Yeah.
question was about discipline. So
Okay.
what is the discipline plan with being a bonus mom? Do you establish that up front? And I know as the children are getting older and teenage girls too, things
Hmm.
change. So how do you establish those boundaries? Did you have to establish them early? Was it like when you come over here, the same rules apply that are at your mom's house? Or, how did you all do that?
So yeah, so I did. I established that early, especially when Greg and I became engaged. Greg and I had a conversation, completely about how that will work. One, I am not the one. I'm probably not the disciplinarian in the house. Like I'm the soft one. So, but
Yeah, yeah.
but when I have to get there, when I have to go there, I will. And it's so funny because I'm not the one to usually go there. When I do get there, it hurts everyone's feelings immediately because they're like,
They're
that's
like,
not her.
uh-oh.
Yeah, so we really did something for her to get mad. But yeah, we really wanted to establish that in the beginning, and understand what those barriers were, if there were any. And with that being said, I wanted to make sure that their mom knew that I would never overstep my boundaries at all,
Hmm.
from a disciplinarian standpoint, because I don't ever want her to think that, I'm just doing anything and everything with her kids. And that's not the case by any means. But yeah, we definitely we set those boundaries out in the beginning. And I am very big with, if they're punished at home, they're punished here, because I want them to understand that their mom and I are in sync. Don't think you're going to do one
Exactly.
thing at home with your mom and you're going to do another thing here with me. That's not how it
Right.
works. And they
Right.
get that. And I'm a
Mm-hmm.
big component of, and I have had it, you're right, because they're teenage girls where, they're upset with mom, they don't want to deal with mom, or they're having an issue with mom, and I've literally had to have conversations or say, hey girls, I was there, I've been there, this is, and but however, this is how this needs to be handled. I've picked up the phone and I've called their mom and I've said, blase blase blah, because I always want her to know we need to be on the same page. I never want to go against
Exactly.
you, never. So with that, understand that I respect you as their mother, as the force behind them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and that's another takeaway for listeners. And understand that don't ever overstep that boundary, because you have to realize that that is someone else's child, and you
Mm-hmm.
want to always have a level of respect for them, and realize, as a bonus parent, you are a part of that dynamic. So the same respect you would want if that was your child,
That's
biologically your
right.
child, is the same respect you want the other way. So think about that when you are disciplining those kids, are doing things that you didn't talk through with the other parent. It's very important. Keep those lines of communication completely open.
Yeah, most definitely. And speaking of exes, baby mama, whatever we want to call, we don't want to just
Yeah.
disregard because they're mothers as well.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, how did you all meet? And it was like, was there a discussion? Do you believe there should be like a discussion where we formally meet and we all go to dinner and do this whole thing and discuss rules and how we're going to do it? Or is it kind of one of those, depending on the situation? And if you want to talk about your situation, how do you establish a working relationship with a
Mm-hmm.
baby mama slash ex or the woman of the bonus children?
So every situation is different.
Mm-hmm.
You have some relationships that are completely amicable. The split is amicable, it's peaceful. Then you have some tumultuous ones that are, I mean, Lord Jesus, that you're dealing with all types. So for me, though, I will talk about my situation. How it happened was, Greg and I were dating, and his family goes on an annual trip together, and he invited me to that trip. And the first thing I said was, I will go contingent upon me meeting their parent, their mom. And he was like, "What?" I said, "I'm not going on this trip with these children and their mother never met me." I was like, "I'm going to be
Wow,
with her kids. Are you
that's
crazy?"
right.
I'm like, this gives her the opportunity to grill me, put a face to a
That's
name,
right.
ask me whatever you want to ask me. I literally was opening that door because I felt like I had to put myself in that position. Had it been me,
That's
I
right.
would want someone to meet me who was going on a trip with my children. Honestly, she was not excited about meeting me. It was very, hi, how you doing? And I was like, okay, hi, how you
Uh-huh.
doing? But for me, I felt like, hey, this is what I wanted. I wanted you to meet me. You met me. You're not taking the opportunity, so that's on you. However, fast forward, there were plenty times and I'm going to be very open, where, no, there wasn't any communication. I may have gotten a wave and a keep it moving, or we could have been at an event and I was sitting on one side with the family and she may have been on another side. But it finally got to a point where I really had to ask God, how do I communicate with her? How do I get through to her, to get her to understand I'm not against you. I don't want you to be against me.
Mm-hmm.
And so finally I did that, and I reached out to her, and I did ask. I said, can we have a conversation? And she was like, at first taken back, like, what do we need to talk about? I said, we need to talk about a lot, because one, at the time I was engaged. So I'm like, I'm about to be married to this man. There's
Oh,
so
wow. Yeah.
much. that needs to be
Yeah.
said. That's not. And
Yeah.
I want to clear the air, and I want to do it before I say I do, before my family, and before God. I don't want to go into this with all of it. No. So we finally met, and I was very honest with you, and I'm honest with her. I'm sorry. And she said, I didn't ask for this. And I said, and did I? I was like, we're
Right.
we're we're both coming into this. I said, I didn't ask to be with a divorced man with two kids no more than you asked to be divorced with two kids. No one wakes up saying this is what I want. No, but this is the hand we're dealt, and in that we have to learn how to deal with it. It is my new normal. It is your new normal. It is the girl's new normal. So guess what? How can we make this normal, this new normal, good for them?
Mm-hmm.
And she was honest and said she's been in a blended situation. It was not always great for her. I said, so this gives you the opportunity to rewrite the story for them. Make it different. Make it better. You know. So with that, came more and more conversations, and I think finally she got to the point and realized that, okay, this girl is really not against me. I'm like, no, not. I mean, come on. And this is the thing, and I told her, and people probably gonna be like, are you serious? I really told her. I said, I understand you had a marriage, you had a relationship, you loved him,
Wow.
and you have two children with him. I don't dismiss
Mm-hmm.
that.
And that, I mean, that has got to be, and I believe that that is a part of the communication process, coming
Mm-hmm.
in. If you are the bonus mom, those things that you've been saying all along just have maturity written all over them, and treating someone the way you would want somebody to treat you. And I think that
Correct.
sometimes just, basic speaking and I need to meet her. Let it, those kind of things are that goes a long way. Even though she may
It
not have been
goes
friendly up front, but it goes a long way because that lets her know, okay, she's not in this just to try to exploit my children. Because I'm
right.
sure, as a mother, you got to know that that's a big deal, you know?
Correct. Mm-hmm. And even
Mhm.
with my platform now as being a bonus parent and really talking about this to people out, out. Truth is, I went to her about it because I wanted her blessing.
Mm,
I couldn't do this platform without her blessing because her kids allowed me to become a bonus parent. So
wow.
I can't do this without, and I would never exploit the kids. I even look at it from a standpoint they could help other children. We don't have that where other kids can talk to other kids about how they feel.
Hmm.
Kids internalize a lot of things because one, they feel like they don't have the platform to talk, and if they do, the parents won't understand because parents going to want what they
Right.
want, when that's not the case. For Greg and I, it's not we want what we want what's best for you. So in that, even
That's
though the
right.
conversation may be difficult, it may even hurt us just a tad bit. Let's have it. Let's talk about it.
Wow. Wow. So what would be your advice to a bonus mom who's watching now that needs a little encouragement, maybe going through a tough time right now with
Mhm.
with the financial, the boundaries, all those, and every situation is different. So
Correct.
what word of encouragement would you give to a young lady or a woman who's watching now?
I think everything take has its own course and time, and you have to allow that to happen. The truth of the matter is you don't want it to just flourish overnight, because the truth is, will it be
Mm,
genuine? You know, but communication is key. Remain
mm,
true to who you are, even when you feel like everyone is against you, even the
wow.
children, even when they may turn their back on you, because there may be times, honestly, because kids go through roller coasters, especially when they feel like they have to protect the other parent. Don't,
Right.
and it's okay. And I think most important, you guys have to always make children or the situation feel safe. Make it a good sounding board. But in that, you have to establish that first between that man and that woman. It has to be an open dynamic. You have to be able to talk about any and everything, the most difficult conversations, and the level of respect has to be there. And the level of respect truly has to be therefore the other parent. And when I say that, I'll use Greg as an example. I had to realize that Greg is in the center of 4 women. He has to hear from ex-wife, 2 little girls, and now his wife. That's a tough place to be in. No, it really is. It's a tough
Very.
place to be in. So I had to realize that, God, my husband is trying to manage all. That's a lot. That's like, I mean, seriously. So have patience with your spouse. Know that they know the other parent very well. Allow them to take that lead, and you have to trust the God in your spouse. You got to trust the God in your husband. You have to trust the God in your wife, and know that they're doing everything and consulting with God in regards to every step that needs to take place regarding this blended situation.
Wow. Wow. You are an amazing woman, Leslie Kirkland. I just got
Thank
to
you.
tell you, girl. I know everybody is slow clapping at home like, I have never heard I've never heard it put the way you put it. It's just been great. You are amazing with how you've managed all of this and how you've come into this situation. And I'm sure that Greg thanks the Lord every day that he has a great wife like you
Thank
to be
you.
able
I
to
appreciate
be
it.
and to be just to be who you are because you're such a whole entity within yourself. So
Thank
that
you.
makes all the difference. So
I
thank you for
appreciate
being on, and also let us know where we can find you. I know you've got a YouTube page and everything
Yes, you
else.
can
Let us know
find
when
me.
where we can find
You can find me on Instagram at I am the bonus club. Yes, follow me. You
you.
can also follow me on Facebook at the bonus club. And you can follow me on Twitter with I am the bonus club as well. I have a YouTube, and the YouTube is I am the bonus club. With that platform, guys, just reach out to me. I DM me, email me, leslie.t.cooper@gmail.com. Any questions, any concerns, anything you want to bring to the table, I'm here to just be a open book to you all. I have nothing to hide, and just to be a place where you feel safe enough to talk about your blended dynamic, because the truth of the matter is we're always blending. The life of a bonus mom, bonus dad, bonus child can be as beautiful as you make it out to be.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you so much for being on the Pink Table Talk, Miss Leslie. I am so
Thank you
grateful
for
to you for
having
being on here. Like I said, we just
Thank
had
you.
us a whole grown woman conversation because all of that was grown woman. That's
Yes,
what that looks like.
thank you. I
So
appreciate it.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on here. And we are through with this episode, guys. But please make sure that you share this. Show this to some of your friends because she has a wealth of knowledge and that they make sure that they follow the bonus club as well. So thank you again. And we will see you next time on the Big Table Talk. Y'all have a good one.
Bye.